Hey, welcome back you guys. So today we're talking about the corner trowel. So I already have a video on YouTube dismissing this tool as for the DIY and beginners and not an actually useful tool until I had a job recently where I had to get tape and 2 coats on all in one day, which isn't usually too hard as long as it doesn't have a lot of inside corners. This job had about 25 feet of inside corners, so it was just long enough that trying to coat both sides of those with a regular knife would have been a total pain. I can do, like 5 to 10 feet fairly easy, but it's painstaking. So I decided to actually give this one a try, and I got really good results with it. So I just wanted to really quickly demonstrate it on the inside of this thing because I need to get a coat on each side of the angle tape, and this thing will do it quite easily. So let's check out how this actually works and see why I no longer think it's such a useless tool. And I've got a first coat over top of the corner bead, which covered one side of the corner tape, but I need to do a second coat on the corner bead and 1 coat over the corner tape today to finish it. I find it best to do all sides at the same time, anywhere that ties in, and to put a fairly generous amount of mud on because it usually takes a few passes to get it looking just right. It doesn't have to be pretty at this stage. You just want to make sure there's enough mud. I often use a 4-inch because that way it doesn't spread it out so far. A 6-inch puts the mud out really far. And by the time we're actually finished working with this, it's going to be pretty close to 6 inches out already. So if you started with a 6-inch knife, it would be really spread out. So as we can see, it's generously loaded with mud now. It's probably going to spill over the edges a bit, but it's not the end of the world. So let's see how to take this off now. Okay, I'll try and show as much of it as I can, but basically just push that thing in the corner and do kind of a light pass at first. The hardest part, so first we're just getting rid of all the bubbles. And the hardest part about this is actually getting rid of some of the lines that you're going to leave in the corners. But this is just to generally get a nice thick coat, thick enough to cover over top of most of the tape. And you can tune it up a little bit and do the fine details in a minute. So now at this point, I'm going to put some pressure on my knife and I'm going to bend the blade to feather those edges. And at the end is where the finished work comes in. It sometimes helps to let it start to dry up at the tiniest bit. And you just kind of have to mess with it until you get it where you want it. And I'm not saying this is easy for beginners. I think I've finally reached the skill level where I can now use and appreciate this tool. Whereas before I knew how to actually work in corners properly, I just didn't have the chops to make it look good. It'll work to feather those edges. I'm gonna ignore that. It can be sanded. So let's get a look here. It's not perfect, but we have enough mud everywhere. That tape won't be so visible once the mud dries. I know it's kind of hard to see because of the lighting, but there's enough mud covering both the corner bead and both sides of the tape. And the only thing I really had to fuss with was the 3-way corners, which can be really hard to get good in one day. So again, I'm not saying it's easy, and this wasn't necessarily the best job to show you. The one that I did not on camera was about 25 feet of corners with only 2 three-way corners. The three-way are the inside intersections where all 3 directions meet, if anyone's wondering. So yeah, when you have some longer stretches of corners and you're trying to get a job done in one day, these are really good. I don't have to bring in all of my tubes and flushers and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, these things work really well. And also you can use this on like a small strip by a doorway or a window, whereas a flusher or a corner glazer, you can't use those in small spaces because they can't sit flat and square. So this does have some advantages there too. Anyways, that's it. Again, not saying this tool is easy, but it is workable, and I am actually using it these days. So yeah, I now have new feelings about this. I want to say thanks for watching Vancouver Carpenter. Hopefully you guys got something out of this video. I hope your projects are going well, but I hope you're doing even better. Till the next one, you guys.